Okay, so yesterday we were talking about the trade policies of developing countries. So let me open the book first. Alright. Okay, so wait. This one, right? Okay. So we look at the list, the what do you call it, the pros and cons of the import substitution to the export oriented. So these are the answers provided in the books. Okay. So you can see the four arguments in favor of ISI. Number one, infant industry. Developing government argument. This one, it's a developing argument. It's the what do we call it? The tax revenue, because we find that developing countries, their sources of revenue they cannot get from direct tax because the income is very low, and they cannot get much from indirect tax because they are, most are poor people. So you find that it's going to be very heavy on them if you have indirect tax. So what happened is the only way for them to get tax is from tariff, import tax. So this ISI, they will have a lot of tax on import to protect the infant industry. Okay, so the chance to improve terms of trade for the large importing countries. So those countries that import a lot of things, so if you import less things, you find that the price will be lower. So the import price lower, your terms of trade improve, right? So what is terms of trade again? So you still remember? Terms of trade is just the export price over the import price. All right. So what it means is that for every unit of export you sell, how many exports you can buy. So if the terms of trade is getting stronger, that means every unit you sell, your export will be able to buy more import. Okay. Economizing on market information. So this is, you know your market because this is your domestic country. So you definitely know your market. So market information by focusing on selling to local market rather than uncertain foreign market. So these are the advantages of ISI over the, what do we call it? Export-oriented industries. Okay. Now, drawback of ISI, deadweight loss from inefficiency of import protection. So this deadweight loss is the one we look at. Remember the two triangle, left and right. Okay, when you impose tariff, you will have deadweight loss. The danger that government official directing the policy will try to enrich themselves rather than the country. So ISI, if let's say you get protection from the government, let's say like Proton like that, okay? So Proton, they sell cars, they get protection from the government. They got import tax. So people got no choice. They have to buy local make Proton, right? So Proton sales will go up. So definitely the owners of Proton will become very rich. Okay. So whoever the government choose to decide, they will definitely become very rich. So you can see this again is the power to the politicians. So the power to the politicians will be opportunity or will be very tempting for them to actually try to enrich themselves, right? They will tell Proton to say, okay, I'm going to give you protection another 5 years, but then, this is my private account number. You know what to do, right? Send kick back some money, this and that. So basically, this is what happened. So I told you, right, the politicians can do a lot of things. Or they can just say, well, remember me. Okay, I'll do this for you now. So during election time, I'm going to call you and I'll say, okay, these are the, what do we call it? These are the foundation, right? Can you just put 10 million to each of these foundation? Thank you very much. And that's it. So these people will pay back in that sense. Can you get that? So this is called rent seeking activities, right? Or rent seeking behavior, right? Rent seeking is just a technical term for corruption. Okay. What else? Right. And the lack of competitive pressure on local firm to grow up. So when you protect them, in the long run, they may not be able to compete because they are under protection. They don't compete. So they got no pressure. Okay, so they don't reduce costs, they don't improve technology, and they don't raise their product quality. All right. So the argument in favor of a policy promoting manufactured export are that it encourages use of the country's abundant resources. Okay. So here, the advantages of export orientation is that we can use the country's abundant resources. So for example, let's say Malaysia have a lot of tin. Okay. So we can export the tin, or we can export the things that the tin, how to say, we value add. That means we manufactured the tin into making some things, right? Making machine gun, making whatever things. Then we sell that product, the manufactured product, rather than selling the raw tin. Okay, so this gives us the advantage, right? So for example, let's say I sell rubber, right? So 1 ton of rubber, maybe I get $100. But if I make rubber into tires, okay, that use a lot of natural rubber, okay, or if I make rubbers into, let's say, a glove, then when I sell the same 1 ton, I can sell for maybe $600. So I can make $500 extra. So that is called export-oriented industry. So the advantage is you can take advantage of the abundant resources that you have. Okay, so rather than just export the, what do we call it, the natural rubber, the latex, right? So you export the glove, you export the tires, you export whatever rubber products. Okay, export sales can achieve a scale economies. Okay, and drive to succeed in foreign market creates competitive pressure. So export oriented, you have to be good before you can sell in other countries, because once you export, you are competing with every other firm in the world. Okay, so there will no advantage, no protection, no nothing. So you will be able to sell only if your product is good, if they are cheap, if they are competitive, right? If they are better than others. So the pressure is there for you to make sure that your goods are really, really competitive. Okay, so these are the advantages of export orientation over the import substitution. All right, so the major drawback is that foreign importing countries may erect trade barriers that limit exporters' ability to expand the exports of the manufacturers. Okay, so this is the thing, right? So export may cause what we call retaliation. Right, so if you have what do you call it, have an infant industry, or you want to focus on export your product to another country, so that country may choose to erect barriers. Okay, so these are the pros and cons for the ISI and the EOI. Right, ISI is import substitution. Here they still import replacing, it's the same thing lah. Right, so versus concentration, this is new manufacturing export. So this is export orientation. Okay, now look at this terms of trade. Right, the available data indicate that the relative prices of primary products have declined since 1990. So this is based on the data, right? So in your PowerPoint, you see that there's this data, this charts that shows the red line and the black line going down. Now perhaps by as much as 0.6% per year. So if every year go down 0.6%, it will be quite bad, isn't it? Okay, but there are biases in the data. Some of the decline could reflect declining transport costs. So the decline is not really the decline of the, what do we call it, of the raw material, but it's just that the transport costs become cheaper, so that's why they are selling cheaper. Some could be offset by the rising quality of manufactured products that is not reflected in price comparison. So maybe the quality also improved, but it doesn't reflect, not reflected in price comparison. If you just look price and price, you find that, hey, the things are cheaper. Okay, but sometimes the quality may have improved, right? The true trend decline is probably less than 6% and maybe even be no decline. Okay, so this is based on the thing falling. Okay, now you still remember this? Yesterday we were talking about world price of tobacco, right? So what are these people trying to do? Tobacco altruistic racer. They are trying to increase the price of tobacco so that people will smoke less, right? So that the cigarette become expensive and stuff like that. So how successful are you likely to be successful? This is a question about cartel. Okay, this country, they form a cartel. Okay, so this cartel, they control 2/3 of world tobacco. So they think they are very powerful. Okay, they think they are very powerful because they got 2/3. Okay, now price elasticity of demand for tobacco is rather low in the short run, but higher in the long run. Okay, so when it's low in the short run, if your PED is lower, okay, if you increase the price, you if you reduce the supply, it will lead to very high increase in prices, but it would not lead to very much fall in consumption. Understand? Right? If the idea here is to increase price, then you will be successful. But if your idea is to increase price so that people will smoke less, then you will not be successful in the short run because the price is inelastic. Okay, but if you continue doing it in the long run, it is elastic, so it's okay. That means people will actually smoke less in the long run if the price is really that high. Right, so this is between long run and short run. Okay, the ability of other countries who are not PAR members to increase their production is very small in a period. So in the short run, the new the new supplier cannot come in. So you will be able to cut supply, the price will go up. But in the long run, they can easily expand their tobacco, meaning that in the long run, if you cut your supply, the price goes up, new supplier will come in, so the price will come down. So this cartel will totally have no power. Okay, so generally there are two things you need to talk about. Number one, you talk about the elasticity, short run, long run. Then we talk about the ability for new firms or new supplier to enter the market. Okay, so this is the also in the long run and short run. Okay, so generally you find that, well, you'll probably be successful in the short run, but you are not likely to be successful in the long run. Okay, any questions so far? Yep. You notice something different or not? My question here I got answer one. Right? But not all questions got answer. You see, this you got star one is difficult question, it's good question, so they got answer. So this one no answer, and then this one got answer. So these questions are very good for your revision, right? But this is not from the VU Collaborate. This one is from THOL, right? So you go to THOL. Okay, so you type Thomas Puja, you search, then it will bring you to this page. So under this book, you click online access, right? After you click online access, they will ask you to log in. So you log in with your student number, password 1234. You know, right? This one. So after you log in already, then you just follow. You click. That means they will take you to this book, right? So this is actually the whole book, right? So this is under the THOL, right? So for your revision, you got to do this. Okay, so far, right? You all got to study harder because most of you did quite badly for the first test, a bit worried. Now, okay, any question? No questions? No questions, So today I just want to cover a little bit things, right, about this industrialization of trade policy for Malaysia. Okay, so what did we do? You see, what do you call it? What is the history so far? Okay, So generally, the Malaysia experience, the trade policy, we have the first phase initially, right? So it's Merdeka, here is independent 1957 to 1968. So the entire 50s and 60s, we are focusing on import substitution, okay? Then from 70s to 80, we focus on export orientation because that time export orientation is a bit popular. Huh? And then subsequently from 80 onwards, we go to import substitution part 2. Okay, that means the proton, the cars, all those coming in already. Okay, so and then in 1986, export orientation part 2. Right, then it's knowledge economy. Okay, today 2024, we are focusing a lot on high tech basically. Okay, microchips, all those things. So these are generally what we went through. Okay, so here will be more a bit more detail on what is all this about. Okay, so okay, now this is the reason why we have trade policy. So yesterday we studied that developing countries, they focus a lot on primary industry. So Malaysia, 45% primary industry, agriculture, mining, and forestry. 11% in secondary and 44% in tertiary industry. The major export driver is still primary industry. Okay, so more than 90% of export tin and rubber. Okay, so this is a Malaysian rubber plantation. Okay, they are the most disciplined trees. You can see they all line up very nicely. Okay, so this is what they do, and this is the thing. Now, the problem with tin and rubber, yesterday we said, because the price is very volatile because of inelastic demand and inelastic supply. Okay, so in the late 60s, we tried to diversify a bit going into palm oil and cocoa. But this is just a diversification. It's not really the trade policy yet. Okay, so what we do is well, who's that? Okay, so this is why we go into industrialization for developing countries. It's quite similar. Most country will go for the same thing. Number one, industrialized products, their price more stable. Number two, we need to diversify. 90% tin and rubber is suicide. Number three, we need jobs and we want higher income, promote economic growth. So this is the reason why we go. Okay, so we go into import substitution. Now, what do we do? Now, the first thing is we have developed the infrastructure facility. Okay, that means the areas, the factory, the industrial parks, the roads, the ports, and all those things, right? So then we give credit facility. That means we give loan, right? We give credit facility. So if you open a factory, you go to the bank during that time, the bank will not give you a loan because they say these things are so new. Do you know what you're doing or not? So the bank don't trust you. So the government will say, don't worry, if you got credit, you need a loan, you come to us. Of course, tariff protection, pioneer status, tax exemption. This one is to tell them if you are a pioneer, okay, you are the first in the industry, we give you tax exemption. Okay, now, okay. Now, the problem with import substitution during that time, they are not linked to domestic economy, right? So the domestic economy is focusing on tin and rubber, but then this what do we call it? The industries that we are doing, they do not use the tin, they do not use the rubber, right? We are just trying to substitute the import, maybe the import of furniture, the import of cooking utensils, the import of all these plastics, some simple things. Okay, so they also generate very little employment. It's not a big scale. Okay, not many people go into that. And local markets are too small. So this is the problem we face, right? Most developing countries are facing this more. So, I mean, end of the day, you're still doing like, small items, are a small company. So what can you do with all these things? Nothing much, huh? All right. So this is the problem with ISI. So conclusion, remember what year we start? 1950 something, 1960s, right? So by 1970s, 80% of the export is still from tin and rubber. So the first import substitution, you can say, is failed, right? The whole project is failed. Okay, then we go into export oriented. So why export oriented? market size is always the problem. Okay, create jobs, economic growth, they are the same. Okay, so now we focus on export market. All right, now again, now I'm more clear. Tax exemption up to 8 years. Tax exemption to encourage employment. Exemption from import duty for capital goods. That means when you import machines, no tax. Okay, so a lot of this incentive for large manufacturing for export. Okay, we are telling them you don't have to pay taxes for up to 8 years if you start your factory here. If you employ, more than 100 people or more than 50 people, again, you got tax exemption. So many tax exemption. Okay. Okay. Conclusion. Again, low skill and labor intensive industry. Okay. So you noticed yesterday, if you remember, we did the import substitution. There's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right? So export orientation, it's also generally phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, you manufactures those very simple product, right? You cannot be, first already. Once you start export oriented, you say, okay, we're gonna export MRI machine, okay, CAT scan, all those medical equipment, big one. That one, it's very difficult, right? The skills, all those. We're gonna export robots that can do surgery on. You cannot, right? So initially you start off with very, very simple stuff. Okay, so focus is always on low skill and labor intensive. And what we do simple final assembly. So most of the time, the foreign firm will take advantage of all the tax incentive, but when they come here, they only do assembly work, right? We call it screwdriver technology. Okay, say if you have what do we call it, if you want to produce something, let's say let's say you are Toyota, you have 3 departments. The first department is R&D. Okay, they come up with designing the car, coming up with the car, the concept and everything. Okay, so that is most difficult. R&D, research and development. You have to create something new, right? Something that can compete, something that can something that people want nowadays. Then after you've done that, you succeeded in the R&D, you go to the second stage, which is the machining. Machining, that means I make the machine to make this product. Okay, because every product would have their own things, right? Their own parts and all those things. So the machining is also very, very difficult, but less difficult than R&D. Okay, so the machining things, okay. And then the third stage is assembly. Assembly is, I got all the parts ready. You just need a screwdriver. You screw everything together. Okay. So what Malaysia doing? Malaysia is doing only the third stage, which is the screwdriver technology. So everything is just in final assembly. It can be a radio, it can be a refrigerator, it can be whatever it is. What we do, we are simply assembling. Right. So end of the day, you find that export orientation is also failed because after 10 years, only 20% of industrial output are exported. Okay, today we can brag we are the largest producer of aircon, right? Today is what, 2025. Okay, so we started in 1980s and today we are the largest producer of aircon. Now, this is quite sad because aircon is actually very, very low technology. It's very simple, right? The whole aircon only consists of 3 parts, that's all. Okay, anybody can make aircon. Okay, so if we are still producing aircon, that means we are in trouble. Okay, so this one should not be something, this is actually something that is quite sad. Okay, so generally this is what happened, export orientation. Okay, then we look at import substitution again, 1981. Okay, so this is 1980s. 1980s, I think the time Prime Minister Mahathir come in. We started with this thing called Look East policy, right? So what is Look East policy? So we don't like the British. We find that this bloody British take advantage of us. Okay, so imagine after World War II, the British Empire, they're so broke. They actually got no money. Okay, they everything was gone. They all borrowed so much money from US, and everything was burned in Second World War. So the only revenue, in fact, the whole British Empire, 70% of their revenue, 70, actually come from Malaya. right, come from our country, we contribute about 70% of all the revenue to the entire British Empire. So you can see how rich we are and how powerful they are. I mean, how rich they are and how desperate they are, right? So basically, that's what happened. So after Merdeka, after independence, we are already in the 1960s, 1970s. We find that most of our industry, in fact, about 60% of our economy is still owned by the British company. Right? Company like Sime Darby, Guthrie, Bowstate, all these things, they are still what do you call it? All owned by British. So they are still taking our resources, they are still, robbing us like mad, right? So when Mahathir come out, he say bloody hell, so these people just continue to what do we call it? Continue to steal from us, and yet we always look up to them. We still praise them like God, like that. We still respect them and so on. I said nonsense. Okay, so he pulled everything out, forced all these British to get out of the economy. The government nationalized or take over all these company, now become local company, and then we say we don't have to look at the east. I mean, look at the west. We can look at the east. That means we follow the model of Japan, model of all these countries, right? South Korea, so that they can their work ethics and all those things. Okay. So what we learned from Japan was number one, the MITI. I told you about MITI yesterday, Ministry of International Trade and Industry. Everything that you export must get approval, and MITI will make sure that the quality export is good. Right. Number two, it's the Kiretsu. Right? So generally, this is the policy, and we want to do this to substitute import. So we find that Malaysia importing a lot of cars, importing a lot of motorcycle, importing a lot of electrical equipment. Why can't we produce this? So we want to produce it, and government have a lot of infant industry to produce these things. So this is in the 1980s, right? Proton is, I think, 1983 or 84 or something like that. Right? 1980s, that's how we start. Okay, and then we also start off this thing called industrial master plan. Okay, it's supposed to be 5 years, but now it's 10 years. 86, 95, 96, 2005. Okay, so this is the export orientation. All right, so this import substitution and export orientation is together. You see it not? So first we focus on this. Okay, and then we also add on, right, for these export industries. Okay, so what we do now is we are focusing on heavy industry, right? So why heavy industry? Because of massive industry linkages. If you have an automobile industry, you find that you will be demanding so many different spare parts, correct? So all these other industries that supply the spare parts, the whole supply chain, you will develop, right? Skills you will develop, right? Human resource you will develop. So you just have to have a major industry, right? Things like shipbuilding, right? Things like car, automotive, right? Things like big one, anything that's big. Okay. Stable income in the long run. So long run, it's very, very good for your economy. And you develop long-term competitiveness in that. Okay. But it's something very difficult to do. Okay. So you have to go for that. So that is what we did in the 1980s. All right. So this is what we choose. We choose proton. We produce heavy industry, cement, we have steel, and we have shipbuilding. Okay. Now, challenges to automakers. Now, this is the problem. This is not Malaysia problem. This is basically the automakers problem. The car industry is in the 1980s already faced this problem. Don't talk about today. Number one, excess capacity. They built too many factories. The capacity, so most of the car companies, they cannot even use like maybe 60 or 70% of their factory. So most of the factory are running at 50% and 40%. Okay, they build a lot of factory, but the market is not getting bigger. Okay, for the developed nation, people who wants to buy car, not many people want to buy car. Okay, it's not like their car sales is increasing every year. No, it's in fact they're decreasing. Less and less people driving car already. Okay, Domestic market too small for economies of scale. Now, this one is Malaysia problem. Malaysia market is simply not big enough for us to achieve economies of scale in the auto industry. And finally, we have some quality issues. Right? So what are the quality issues? So we find that Proton cars got a lot of quality complaint. People complain about them. Okay, so we actually take over. I think we get the machine or we get a partnership with Mitsubishi. So the whole engine, everything, they are all Mitsubishi. But somehow the problem with the car is that they always have small little things. Okay, which is not big issues, but generally small things. So generally we always have these quality issues that people are not happy with the local cars. Proton during that one. Okay, so this is the problem. All right. Now, this is heavy industry, not just car, but heavy industry. Okay. Heavy industries, small domestic market, skilled labor, innovation focus, massive investment, long gestation period. This we are talking about 10 years, 20 years before you see your profit coming in, right? Existence of glut in international market. So these are the challenges, right? You want to go into heavy industry, of course, it's good, okay, but then you will be competing with, very big guys like those industrial player from Germans, from America, from all these very big nations, okay. So generally, these are the challenges, okay. So Malaysia, we always find the most difficult things to do, right? We challenge them, right? So generally, this is what happened in the 1980s. Okay. So what happened now is we find that industrialization in Malaysia have a few areas that we are quite successful. Number one is electronics. Okay, so we become one of the major exporter in terms of microchips. Right, back when it's year 2000. Right, so we have a problem in the year 2000. It's called Y2K. Have you heard of this? Right, we call it the millennium bug. Okay, so what is this millennium bug? You see, computer last time they have very limited memory. So when we put in the dates for the month, we put 2 characters. For the year, we put 2 characters. For the day, we put 2 characters. So if the year is 2 characters, so your computer year will be 88, 89, 90, 91, 92. Okay. But then when it comes to 99, okay, switching to next year will be 2000. But we don't have 2000. We only have 2 characters. So it becomes 00. So the computer is going to read this as year zero instead of year 2000. Right? So what happened is when this thing comes in, okay, nobody planned this, but this thing comes is going to mess up so much of our computer during that time of our system that they are predicting is going to be a major thing. Right, a major thing meaning your plane may fire, your water will finish, your electricity will blow up, your grid, everything messed up, right? Your ships, everything is all digitalized, all computer control, right? So the whole thing will be messed up. There will be a major problem. Okay, so in the year 97, 98, 99, so all the companies are so afraid of this thing. So what they do a lot of backup. Okay, so in case it shut down, okay, we can just reboot with whatever things we back. So they back up their data. So all the data they back up, okay, insurance company, banking, finance, you name it. Okay, and when you back up, you need to buy chips, basically, right? You need to buy what do you call it, your all your memories and stuff like that. So happened that Malaysia are a major producer of chips during that time, and all the investment comes in, right? So generally, we become the largest producer. Okay, But unfortunately, again, not unfortunately, we were not able to compete in microchips later on, because later on all this TSMC, all this, they come in, they produce higher grade microchips. Okay, so now with the, what do we call it? With the trade war between China and US, okay, where US don't want to sell China, what do we call it? Don't want to sell China the high grade microchips. So Malaysia become a plus one, right? What is a plus one? Plus one, that means if you are a microchip producer, like, let's say you are a Chinese company, you produce microchip. Now you want to sell, of course, you want to sell not just in China, you also want to sell to the world, and you definitely want to sell to US and all these countries, but you can't sell because you are China, right? So what do? You will find a neutral country, right? Maybe you invest in a company, or you invest in Malaysia. Then from Malaysia, you export to all these other countries. Same thing for what do you call it, for Western countries, right? Let's say you are Intel, or all those things. Are the Chinese, the US government banned Intel from exporting their chips. Okay, you cannot sell to China. So what Intel will do is they will find a plus one. That means they find some neutral country like Malaysia, like that. So they invest here, and then they sell to China. Okay, so here we are positioning ourselves as the one that, we are friend to all. So if you want to fight and you still want to sell to one another, you can move here lah. Okay lah. Right. So this is one of the things in terms of electronics. And then in terms of glove, we also become one of the I think we are the largest manufacturer of glove and condoms. Right, largest. Okay, why? Because they use natural rubber. And the reason why we grow this is because, number one, we have abundance of natural resources, and we have a policies to bring in lots and lots of cheap labor. So labor become very cheap because we are bringing in labor from Indonesia, from Bangladesh, right, from Nepal, everywhere, right, to work in our factory. So this glove, what do you call it, production are pretty labor intensive. Okay, so this is the thing, right? So that is what do you call it, the secondary industry. So in terms of the trade policy, we end up, with these two industries. All right, so glove industry was making so much money during the pandemic. During the COVID-19, we're just, companies like Top Glove, all this, they're very expensive. Okay, so those are the parts where we are quite successful, right? Okay, so now if we look at this, what are we looking at? Okay, this is 9 industrial master plan. Okay, so recently, I think last year, when the Anwar became the prime minister, he came out with this 9 industrial plan, because this, after about 7, 8 already, now it's 9, right? So or the new industrial master plan, I don't know, it's 9 or new, this one. Okay, and this is the plan he wanted to do. Okay, so he said opportunities. Global geopolitical situation turn to Southeast Asia as a plus one destination. Ensure economic security and supply chain resilience. So we don't know how the US-China war, how long they're going to last, and whether it will get worse or it will improve. So whatever it is, there's a lot of uncertainty. So people want to have certainty, they will come to Southeast Asia, right? So this is the area where we are going to be, we will be posed. I mean, so we have to take advantage of this opportunity. If they don't come to Malaysia, they will go to Indonesia, they will go to Vietnam, they go to Thailand, they will go to Bangladesh, right? Or they go to Singapore. So what happened is, we also want to be one of them. So accelerate digitalization, okay, in the post-pandemic era, and step up effort to develop high-skilled talent and enhance TVET programs. So this is where we need to focus, right? Generally, Malaysia, we are so crazy. I mean, we have a lot of unskilled workers, And those who went to study, they don't want to study diploma, they don't want to study, they straight away they go degree. They straight away they come up with engineers. So now we have engineers, and then we have unskilled workers. But in the middle, we don't have the technical people. We call it the technicians, right? So these technicians are now they are in high demand, right? So generally, we need to develop a lot more technicians, not the degree holder. Right? Of course, we need the degree holder and the engineers and masters and PhD holders, but we also need a lot more who are in the middle who actually do the work, right? Because now people don't want to do these things, right? So TVET program is a very high potential, really, really high potential. Okay. Climate change. Adopt sustainable practice to create new growth opportunities in green manufacturing, electric vehicle, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Right. So these are also the opportunities that we are looking at. Okay. And we are trying to take advantage of all these opportunities. So 4 missions: advance economic complexity, pack up for a digitally vibrant nation, net zero future, safeguarding economic securities and inclusivity. So these are the 4 major things that they do. So what they do is inside each of these, they will have a lot of small objectives, and they are going to try, and then they're going to attempt on this each of them and track their progress. Okay, so these are the sectors that we focus on. E&E, electrical and electronics. So you see now there's a lot of Chinese company from China. They are investing, especially the microchip sector. They are coming into Malaysia, coming into Penang. Okay, and then on the other side, we have on the US side also all these Google whatever. They are also coming to Malaysia for their data center and all those things. Okay, chemical industries. Okay, EV. EV, we are trying to get more and more people to come into Malaysia to set up their factory, at least manufacturing of EV, so that we will drive the whole ecosystem. Ecosystem meaning that the supplier, okay, will supply all these parts, right? So compare the EV to the traditional engine, the ICE internal combustion engine. I think the EV supplier will have less because EV have very few parts. Okay, it's just the electric uh electric engine or battery, right? And then other than that, the rest are actually quite simple. Okay, so compared to the ICE, ICE, you have a lot. Your what do you call it? Your car is very complicated. There are many different parts, so you have a lot. Okay, so aerospace, pharmaceutical, advanced materials such as minerals and metals. So these are the factors we are focusing on. Right? So targeted outcome by 2030, the value add to GDP should be target to be 587 billion, creates 3.3 million employment, average salary 4,500. We want jobs, high income jobs. So the average job should be paying about 4,500. Okay, of these jobs are SME development, small and medium scale, right? Implementation mechanism. How do we implement? Okay, new industrial master plan, whole of nation approach. Whole of nation approach means the entire nation are involved, not just one group. And the whole thing, we will collaborate between different ministry, different sector, private, and all those things. Okay, delivery management unit. So this is the monitoring. We want to see how much, not just you say only, but after 3 months meeting. Okay, so Anwar, the prime minister, will chair the meeting, and then they will ask you, okay, how much have you done? Right? If you have done nothing, you cannot say you have done something, because then you have to prove what have you done, until what percentage already, how successful, what are the problems you face. So this is called the delivery management unit. Okay, so funding, where does the money come from? Right, so these are the mission. So generally, these are the 4, what do we call it? Industrial master plan. Okay, by our friend here. Right, last year, August. Okay, so this is the, what do we call it? The industrial policy. Okay, any questions? so far? No question, huh? Okay. Then we look at the. You all want me to discuss the assignment 4, right? Is it? Or no need?
Yes, sir.
Yes, huh? Okay. I have shared some of the things right in your WhatsApp group this morning. Okay, so this is what your poster look like. Your poster will look something like this. Okay, yeah, cannot see. Okay, anyway, so this is the title. Okay, the subheading, and then your group member. Right, I need you to put the VU what do you call it, the logo here also. Okay, that means the VU logo and also the name of the thing and the title. So this is the opening page. Then you can see this is one format. There are a few formats that you follow. So you put everything in. This is the subheading. So create the subheading, right? And the diagrams are whatever diagrams you can put in. Okay, so as to how to make this, okay, there are actually 4 YouTube, some of them repetitive, maybe you don't need to see all 4, but they will teach you step by step how to make the poster. All right, so this poster, the last part here is the reference, so you need to put in the reference. Okay, so the wording here, you need to be as concise as possible, as how to say, it's okay if you put bullet point also. If you want to put bullet point, by all means, you got to be more concise. That means use the least amount of words. Okay, I got problem last semester, last block. Okay, the students put so many words here. Okay, and then they cannot fit all the words. So the, what do you call it, the font size, they go down to 4. I say, my God, I can't even read the font size. Okay, so they put very, very small font size. So don't do that. So you need to condense all your points, just the major point only. Bullet point also can, but not all bullet point. You must have references. Okay, you must have one part which is theory that explain, and then all this what do we call it? All this one is not. I mean, if it's relevant now, you're talking about this, but all the charts and all those things that will be important for your poster. Okay. Now, for how to make poster, have you all done poster before, by the way?
No.
No, no. Anyone done poster before? Got it. Okay, now poster is something very popular now, because when we go for conference, maybe one day in a conference, maybe 10 people can present their paper. That means these are the new findings in our field. Okay, but then maybe there are another 50 also very good finding, but they didn't get a chance to present. So what they do is they will go to a hall, right? Like, let's say Jeffrey Chia Hall, like that. So everyone would be given a booth or just one place to put up your poster. So you just stand beside your poster. So they will have 2 hours, 3 hours. All the conference participants will come, and then they walk around, and then you will explain through your poster what is your main idea, and then from there you discuss. Right? Some people find that poster is better than just presentation, because presentation, one person talk only. Okay, not much chance of interaction. But then if it's poster, you will just stand there and everybody will come, and they will, they read, and then they get the idea, and then they will start discussing. And then you got a lot more people present, right? You can have 30 people or 50 people in the hall, poster with poster, right? So that's why here we want you to learn how to make a poster. Okay, not any question? Right? I think most of the examples here, they use PowerPoint to make poster lah. Right? I heard that you may be able, I mean, some of you may prefer to use Canva, whatever, but so long as the result is like that lah. Okay, now this is the poster. Now the second thing for the what do we call it, for assessment 4, is the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, I think, is only about 6 to 8 slides, right? So don't do more than that. So the PowerPoint is the normal PowerPoint, where when you present, you don't present the poster. This one you just submit only. You use your PowerPoint to present. Understand? So there are only two things you submit. You submit the poster, you submit the PowerPoint. No need to submit the report. Understand? Right? No need to submit the full write-up, the whole thing, all this, no need, that one. So you just need to submit two things. Number one, the PowerPoint, the 6 slide or 8 slide. Number two, the poster, right? You do both of these into the Dropbox.
Sir.
Yes.
So the report need to write 2,000 words.
What report?
So sorry, the poster.
Poster, no need lah, no word limit one. Don't put so many words. Don't how to say you see the poster. The main thing is the key. It's not about the word limit. The key points that you put in. We just want to see the how to say the important thing is number one your subheading. Okay. So how do you arrange a subheading, whether it's logical or not, the flow, everything. Number two is what do you write inside here, right? So what you write inside here should be very, very concise, very condensed. Write only the key point. Okay, don't write the full sentence. If you can say something, with 6 words, then you just use 6 words. You don't use 30 words to explain your same idea. So you have to cut, right? If you want to put bullet point, by all means put bullet point. Can. All right.
Sir,
Yes.
the poster that you showed in the group chat, is that an example of what you want, or you think that one is too wordy?
I feel this is a bit too wordy lah. I feel this is a bit too wordy.
So you prefer something easy on the eyes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe less wordy lah. Something less wordy lah. As much as possible. Yeah. Let's see. I got anything here or not? This is one of the group. Mana dia? This is also a bit too wordy, but this is quite good. Quite good. That means you see, they say, okay, impact of US-China trade war on low-income family, assessment 3, group presentation poster. You see the names here, the logo here. So this is the heading lah. Okay, the color, that one up to you lah, how you want to do it lah. Right, so you have the heading, then the introduction, right? Literature review, economic analysis. Okay, so this is the analysis. Okay, then they give in the diagram, the data, all those things and these are the charts, the tables. Okay, then finally conclusion, recommendation. So these are the what do we call it, the reference. So all the reference are inside the poster. Right, so some poster got 4 bars, some got 3, some want to do the straight one. Okay, can. Okay, so this one is also a bit wordy lah, I find, but generally the points, the content for this is very good. Can.
Okay.
Okay, see, I got some more now. What is this? This is also another example. Okay, but these are more all these are scientific paper lah. Okay, so I mean you get a general idea lah. Okay, so your poster consists of boxes, subheading. Okay, diagrams. Okay, because it's all words, the whole thing is like that, nobody want to read, right? So at least you have some visual, some what do we call it, charts or tables, okay, that shows the relationship, right? So all those things. All right. Now, we go to the question itself. What you need for the group presentation and poster? My God, 30%. Why they put 2,000 words here? Okay, now this group assessment provides the opportunity to apply your research skill and insight on protectionism and the specificity rule to examine the effect of US-China trade war, government policy towards less inequality without tariff. Okay, so generally there's a lot of things you want to talk about. The keyword is, number one, US-China trade war. Now in this trade war, you can choose one of the industry, any of the industry, right? So you can see here, and then we want to look at the effect of this trade war on inequality, right? That means how does it affect a specific group, right? So there are many groups, right? Every time when you have trade war, the first group will be the US producer and the China producer. Then the other thing will be the US consumer and the Chinese consumer. Then will be in the US consumer, like the example I show you just now, even they break down the US consumer to the low income group, the effect on the low income group. You can even look at the industries that's related to the industry that's being protected, right? For example, China or US impose a tariff on EV, right? So it will definitely affect the EV company in US. They are going to sell more because now make in China, import from China more expensive. But it will also affect the supplier. Can see not? So the supplier of EV, all those things, the supply chain, everything, will be also another group, right? So generally, you need to identify who are the winners, right? Which group are the winners? Which group are the losers? Right? How does it contribute to greater equality or greater inequality? Okay, now, so apply your knowledge on trade protection and externalities to analyze the effect of the US-China trade war on the specific group and identify government policies that can assist vulnerable groups to overcome the negative effects of globalization and improve their lives. You are to choose one industry for the following list: logistic, automotive, innovation, industries, mining, right? So I think automotive, I think when you choose your industry, you have to let me know what industry you choose. If let's say innovative, this one, you can choose something like, let's say, a solar panel, right? The US-China war, they fight a lot about solar panel. Okay, this one, of course, EV a lot, EV here, okay? And they also find innovation. You can talk about microchips, all right? Microchips. Yeah, so these are the things that are all the different industries. Okay, logistics are basically transport company. All right, how does it affect the logistics? Okay, so if we cannot have two groups doing the same what do you call it, industry, for example, two groups also want to do EV, then cannot lah. Okay, now you will have to look into the chosen industry in US and China and present in a poster format your finding addressing specific areas. Okay, so in your findings, you need to identify what are the specific areas. So specific area is the groups that I'm talking about, right? Either it's the consumer or the producer or whatever. Okay, so learning unit outcome, demonstrate conceptual practical understanding of diverse effect of free trade and trade protection. Okay, so a lot of things will be affected when you have a trade war. So what are the things? What are the effects? Okay, so what do you call it? The goal is for you to understand that actually there are so many direct effects and there are also so many indirect effects, and there are also a lot of what we call unintended consequences. Okay, analyze the effectiveness of government subsidies and protection in the context of environmental protection. Examine how markets of foreign investment and labor migration might be affected by trade protection. Apply international economic insight to examine the impact of free trade and trade protection on particular section of the population. Right? So in your US-China trade war, if you choose a particular, let's say you choose a mining industry, okay? So I think recently, US actually banned the import, but that one is on Russia, sorry, not on China. So whatever things there's, so you need the specific policies about that particular area that you have chosen. All right. So you can choose whatever industry, then you go and find the data. Okay. But if you cannot find the data, then you may want to switch to another industry where you can find the data. That means the China and the US trade war policy, how they fight, what are the things they impose on one another, what are the tariffs they put on, or limitation or restriction or whatnot. Okay, so tentatively, it's okay. You choose the industry first, then you go and find. But if you cannot find, you need to change, then you let me know. Then you can change to another different industry. Right? Okay. The group presentation should pay attention to the following quality. PowerPoint slide should be limited, clear, and relevant to the topic. So again, the PowerPoint slide, don't put a lot of words in the PowerPoint slide. Just keywords and all those things. Put diagrams if you can, charts, whatnot. Okay. The group and countries examined should be clearly identified. So countries, of course, it's only US and China. Don't do any other country. We are only talking about the trade war. Right? The trade war started by Donald Trump. All right, back in the, I don't know, during his presidency. Okay, and then continue with Biden. Biden actually intensified the trade war, right? They make it even worse. Okay, and then how the two countries ding dong, and how they fight. Okay, and the groups will be basically this is the key part. Okay, who are the winners and who are the losers? All right, the consumer, the producer of other industries. How does it affect other industries? How does it affect third world? Right, the third world countries. Okay, like I said, now all these industries, they are all finding the plus one just to be more certain. They don't want to be in a country whereby they get sanctioned and stuff like that. Presenters should engage with the audience, and all group members should take part in the presentation. Presentation should make reference to concept and insight gain. PowerPoint slide and poster should be uploaded. The video collaborate 4 p.m. the night by 4 p.m. of the day of presentation. I don't know what is this. Okay, you upload the thing before the presentation. Our presentation is on Wednesday, so you upload it by Wednesday. Sorry, by Tuesday. Right, by Tuesday you upload the PowerPoint slides and poster. So we only need these two things. Total project is 30 out of presentation. 20 is presentation. Poster is worth 10%. 10%. Right, 5 to 6 duration 8 minutes. No more than 8 PowerPoint slides. Include contribution, blah, 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 limited lah. Okay. These are already sent to your share in your group already. My group one, wow, so fast, COVID, you're damn kiasu. You want EV industry, okay. EV, you are which group again, COVID? Fengzhe Automotive. Okay. Can get one group. Automotive will be under automotive. What? Wait, EV is automotive lah. Apa ni? Same these two. Not same. What do you mean not same? EV is car, right? Hello. Automotive is car. Don't tell me automotive is train. It's locomotive. Okay. Somebody do microchips. Microchips a lot. Very interesting. What they did, how they strengthen, and how China overcome all those things. The microchips. Okay, that's under innovation. So innovation, you can have a few because automotive only got car. Innovation can be in terms of PV panel, in terms of solar panels, okay, in terms of what do we call it? Microchips, okay. Mining also pretty interesting, but yeah. Actually, you can get right? Well, your group take fashion, okay, okay. I'll see you tomorrow, right? So tomorrow we confirm all the groups, right? Now
Sir.
yes.
We take microchip.
Who are you again?
Double O.
Double O, okay.
We take
Okay.
innovation industry microchip.
Double O, okay. Tell me tomorrow, all this tell me tomorrow.
Okay.
And those, I'm more concerned about those who haven't got a group, these people, I don't know whether, right? If you haven't got a group, you let me know, if you don't know whether you got a group or not, then most likely you don't have a group, right? So you have to let me know your group, and then you either find a group or you can form a group on your own, right? If not, you'll be doing all on your own, everything. Okay, I think that's it I have for today. Anything else you all want to ask?
Yes, sir. I have question for regarding
Yeah.
to the assessment for today for the similarity. For when I can resubmit it today.
Wait, is Jonathan here? No, okay. You're Akram, right?
Yes.
You submit by today 11 p.m.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Submit by 11 p.m. I will give me about 5 minutes. I'll open it. I'll open it for you. Okay.
All right.
I think only you need the rest is Jonathan also need. I'll text him. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yep. No questions. So I see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye bye.